It's here. I'm so excited. So I got my snack box from Nerdy Crafter. I've been following her for a little while. I think that I got into her channel probably like 2 years ago, a year ago, near the end of her sales of the original Not Another Craft Kit, I guess. I was very interested in it, but I wasn't able to basically save up enough in time to get it. So instead, a couple weeks after I got my job at the park, after I got paid, I pre-ordered this. Look at that. Shiny rainbows. And honestly, I'm a bit more of an animal person, so this really appeals to me. I'm on, by the way. And sorry if I'm a little, like, glossy. It's very warm in my room. Look at this. Look at the wrapping paper in this. So my idea for this, I was kind of planning it out as I was waiting for this to come, essentially. And I redesigned an old character of mine. So I'm excited to get into this. And for one, see what's inside. And, I mean, I know what's inside. I've seen, like, the unboxings, you know. Didn't necessarily feel like it was too spoilery. Regardless, I know what's in here. But I don't necessarily entirely know what mine looks like. So I figured that we could go through it. And then after this initial intro sequence, I'm probably just going to do updates with the project that I want to do. And I'll describe that as I'm kind of unpacking everything in here. So let's see. You get this baggie, which I assume is all of the stuff that is needed for the plaster project, which is super cool. Because it comes with a collapsible bowl, a collapsible funnel, a little sticker, stirring sticks, a nail file, or I guess just like sanding file, probably a bit more of this, grainy, high grain, low grain. Rough. It's a bit rougher than the ones that you would use for your nails. It's a bit different than an emery board. A spatula, and I think that's everything in this particular bag. And they're all blue, which is cool. Even the rubber bands are blue. It's kind of like it's color-coded. And we get a nice kit of brushes. These are nice brushes. I'm excited for these brushes. It's funny, I haven't bought brushes since I was taking art classes. So, it's nice to finally have some new and some smaller brushes. I don't know why, but all of my painting classes, it was like, you gotta get the big brushes. And I do more detail work than that. One thing that I'm especially excited about for this, beside the initial project itself, is the tools that came with the box. So, like, for future purposes, I can actually reuse these, you know? So that's gonna be, I think, a good portion of this box, and that makes me very excited. And a lot of this stuff is reusable and versatile, and I appreciate that as someone who tends to kind of hoard craft supplies and never knows what to do with them, and then, like, I'll make something, and for whatever reason, I'll have, like, 80 of the thing that I needed because I got it on a whim or in a box. This looks like armature wire. Now, I haven't made a sculpture since I was in school, so that's another thing. I'm a mainly digital artist. If you're just seeing this through some sort of link of Jackie's or just came across it under the snack hashtag, hello, I'm Odd again, and I usually do digital art. I've done some other things on this channel, probably going to be posting a little bit more Sims, been a little burnt out on art lately. Hopefully this will be a good inspiration, and I'm very excited about it, is the thing as well. But yeah, typically I do digital art, and I'm moderately crafty. I won't say that I'm not, like, within arm's reach. I have Dukin. He's my little polymer clay guy. I probably should have coated him because he's covered in hair. But this guy made at the beginning of the pandemic. I sew stuff. This is 6. And that's about everything. Oh, wait. This is Merlin, little lizard dragon I sewed. He's kind of frumpy. But yeah, I'm kind of a hobbyist crafter. And oh! That's a screwdriver, knitted octopus. And so I've done some weird crafts in the past, on and off. I've also done some like doll repainting projects, nothing too intense yet. So I would say that I'm a relatively crafty person, but I don't have as much experience as I do in digital art. Definitely not. So this is going to be interesting, especially because there's a lot of tools in here that I haven't used before. First, wings. Little silicone mold full of different types of wings. You got kind of like angel wings, or I guess just feathered wings, which is probably what we're gonna use. Bat wings and fairy wings. So stuff like that. Stuff is falling over. Be very careful with this. You've got permastone. Why am I blanking on the word? Plaster. Permastone plaster. Which is the main thing for the body of the Baroness. There she is. Oh, she's heavy. The mold. The four-legged mold. I'm excited about this. I need to watch so many tutorials, though. It's so hefty. Like, it is... There's some weight to this. That's like 2 pounds. You wouldn't expect it, like something made out of silicone, basically, to be so heavy. This is, I believe, the little silicone base for the base, if you want to pour your excess... There's that word again, plaster, into the base and make a little stand for your character. What is this again? Oh, this is the turntable. So this turns, so you can get a better access to your thing. This is what I'm really excited about. The airbrush. Oh, I've never used an airbrush before. So this is going to be my first time. So compact, beginner-friendly, cordless, handheld. Loud talking too much. Do not disassemble or modify this product by yourself to avoid failure. I'm excited. I am excited. I'm especially excited to use this for other craft projects because I am not good at getting like a nice, thin, clean layer of paint. And I know that these help. So this is going to be fun. More brushes. No, these are sculpting tools. That's right, they're like little rubber erasers. I don't know why I said rubber erasers. Little erasers, but they're kind of not. Soft sculpting tools. Unlike Jackie, my English is my first language. Not having a good time here. My drink cup. Oh yeah. So we got liquid clay. This is stuff that you can use in between things. And a chalk finish acrylic paint. So I guess this is for the last steps? I'm unsure. Got Cost clay, which is different. I've only ever worked with Sculpting, so I'm curious as to how this will work. Well, it's Sculpting and like weird off-brand oven baked clay that may or may not be totally safe to heat up. Who knows? My mom got some the other day, so. But this looks a sharp, pointy thing. Ha! I actually have several of these, so I mean, didn't need it, but it includes everything that you need for your project. And in case, you know, you needed an extra sharp, pointy thing, which I probably do, but I have extra blades, which is also, it comes with one. It comes with a couple. But if I run out of even these, I do have extra X-Acto knife blades. So that's good. I thought that these are they? Or are they? I'm gonna take these up. Are these more emery boards or are these sculpting tools? Yeah, they're more emery boards. Okay, cool. This is the paint set. It's iridescent. Ooh, shiny. Is it iridescent or is it just, no, it's just rainbow. So yeah, it comes with 8 Dynaflow paints, which go with the airbrush. Clear non-airbrush varnish, and one gold metallic paint. So yeah, it looks like it's a sun yellow, brilliant red, azure blue, emerald green, violet, brown, black, and white, which basically covers the whole color spectrum, and you can make all of your secondary and tertiary colors that don't necessarily come with this add some depth to it. Like, I'll probably brown up and then yellow up the green if I were to do anything planty, which I don't know whether or not I will right now, but who knows. So that's good. And finally, we've got the mat that also acts as a measuring tool for all of your things. So that's super cool. Hopefully it'll fit on my desk. And this is cardboard. Look at this liner though. Look at how cool that is. It's got dragons and unicorns, alicorns and manticores on it. And a deer fairy dragon thing. That's dope. That's so cool. My idea with this kit is, after I saw the quadrupedal creature, I thought that I would revamp a very old character of mine that I made when I was about 15, 14, when I got into digital art pretty early on. And I created this creature initially, and she wound up becoming a character that represented basically me for a little while. And I thought that I was being completely unique with what the creature that she was. Obviously, you know, fantasy has existed longer than I have, but I had never personally seen a dragon, a lion, and a horse crossed together. So I decided that I was going to name this creation my own special species name. So I called her a Dracius, dragon, lion, and horse crossed together. And I named her Dracy because I'm terrible at naming things. But the mixture of a dragon and a horse, and typically any other creatures past that, as we saw in things like My Little Pony with Discord, are called Draconicus. So Dracy is now a Draconicus. Of course, I think I made her dad a unicorn, so she's got a little bit of uniqueness to her in the fact that she has kind of like a little horn. I'll probably put a picture of her new reference photo that I drew, and I'm going to be working with that. I made her pose in her reference a little bit similar to this because I basically made her reference with this in mind, and I'm not going to grab it, the figure is a four-legged creature with one hoof up. So I'm going to be using that, and I think I'm going to be basically doing kind of like intermediary updates with each individual step because we're going to be here a while. This is probably going to take, if not an entire day, several days. So this is just the intro. Probably not going to see my face again. Yeah. Hopefully, you'll get to jump into the future after I have watched several tutorials, and we can actually get started. See you then. All right. Thankfully, the mat does actually fit perfectly on the flat surface part of my desk, which is great. So I got everything set up to start with the plaster mold. I think I'm going to make clay wings, so they can be a bit more flexible. So I'm going to pour the rest of the plaster into here when I'm done. And it's funny because I thought that I only saw the back side of this package when I was unboxing it. I probably should have turned it around. So I thought that it was another sanding board, but it's just a case for the shiny sculpting tools. So we don't need these yet, but they're very pretty. So yeah, time to arduously assemble this monstrosity and pour some plaster. The package has been secured. I think I may have gone a little overboard, but honestly, it's better safe than sorry. So, a little nervous. I think we're ready to make our plaster. So we are totally filled here. Probably a little overfilled, honestly. I got some air bubbles popping, which is good. Means I feel like I got a good portion of the butt and the front legs filled. Unfortunately, I think that I know that I got some plaster on my desk and on my pants. But that's okay. I expected to get messy during this. I'm a fairly messy person. Okay, it is a little over an hour later, and we have gotten the mold halfway unmolded, or the first stage of unmolding. I will say that it's very physically warm. Like, I didn't expect, like, this, the mat, I touched this to see if it was done, and it is, but it's still kind of, like, damp. Like, it's giving off, and that I think the description of it was humid, and it is. It's like a weird, damp, but very warm reaction almost, and the figure is very similar. I'm happy with it so far. Nothing is broken. It looks very smooth. It feels very smooth. So, just gotta set another hour timer, and then we can fully unmold this little guy. Okay, here are the unmolded plaster items, and here's the figure. I'm so happy. You have no idea how nerve-wracking it was, especially with the back legs. I was trying super hard to make sure I didn't break these little heels here. And, whew. So yeah, I might take down the little hat, like the little overflow cap there. Otherwise, I'm not totally sure whether or not I'm going to sand down all of these seams right away, because I think I want to bulk out the body just a little bit, considering like Dracy's shape. Otherwise, I think that it's going to be perfect for her. And I'm so happy. It was like birthing this thing out of the freaking silicone. It was so nerve-wracking. Oh, I was so afraid I was going to break it. Oh, need to take a deep breath for a minute. Y'all ready for some plaster cleanup ASMR? Ta-da! Okay, I've got my plaster supplies mostly put away, and my figure standing over there. It already fits on the little base, isn't that so cute? And I'm going to move on to working on the wings before I start sculpting anything, because the recommendation was to make sure that I had the wings ready before I really added anything else, and I think that that sounds like a good idea. So, because I wanted to work with clay, I also want to get these into the oven, and, you know, that's going to take some time. So, yes. Wing time. This clay takes on a slightly lighter color when it's worked versus when it's not worked. And it kind of reminds me of a kneaded eraser. Like, that's the consistency that it gives off to me. Especially the big old chunk. Ugh. Hard stuff. Okay, I've got my wings set up to be unmolded, and I even added a little detail on the other side of just some, like, presses of the popsicle stick to give the illusion of some, like, extra feathers on the back of the wings in case anyone looks there. I'll probably smooth them out a little bit more, but then they're going into the oven. Alright, I've got two lovely wings, fresh and very warm from the oven. Definitely some few imperfections I'm going to take care of, I think, before I get them on. But for the most part, they look really nice. So I'm happy that I got those done. So I got the wings cleaned up a little bit. This clay is actually pretty easy to, like, kind of carve with the knife because it's so malleable. So the thinner parts were really easy to get off even after baking it, which is really nice. I also sanded down the bump as best that I could. Still kind of looks like she has a lump on her head, but I figured that would be pretty covered by the clay. So I think what I'm going to do now is install the wings and then maybe start working on the sculpting. Alright, wings are installed and secure. I think they look really good. Now on to the extra bits. Alright, I've got a rough outline of what you would call, I suppose, the attachable things. So I did about the same process as I did for the wings with this tail. Of course, it's a little bit more malleable because it's still not baked. But I basically just kind of went in with the one short wire, and the long wire is connected to the tail through the hole in the back. The ears are kind of similar. They're just one armature wire, and it's kind of small in each of them. I'm not even totally sure if I needed it, but I figured that it'd be good to have extra support. And yeah, I think the way that I found that I really like to work with this clay to make sure that it gets nice and workable is I just kind of roll it around in my hand in a ball, let it kind of crumble apart and then roll back together. And usually by then it's pretty warmed up. Okay, whew. Sculpting the face took me way longer than expected, but I'm glad that I took that time because I'm happy with it right now. Still a little messy, but I can clean that up a little bit later. Right now I'm just happy with the shapes that I have there. And yeah, that was a lot more effort than I initially thought that it was going to take. Which I guess makes sense because I'm learning. I still haven't even done like the floof or anything like that yet, so. Whew! Alright, I think this is where we've landed in the sculpture. This isn't baked yet. Still a couple of fingerprints and stuff like that, but I can clean this up later. I think that it looks cool. I'm excited to see how it will turn out once I get it painted. Right now it's kind of all over the place, obviously, but I think that it already looks really cool. It's super cool to see one of my characters just like in 3D like this. Look at her! Alright, so the sculpture has been baked. Nothing fell out, not necessarily. There were a couple of cracks, but nothing too bad. And I got it. This turntable is sticky. And I got it relatively coated with the chalk paint that I think at some point I thought I mistook for the top coat. But yes, here she is. Probably need to do some of the bottom parts still. Get those, like, you know, double, triple coated. But overall, we are entering the painting phase. I will just say that it's the second day of my doing this, and my rolling method may or may not be totally fruitful because my hands now feel like physically bruised, like the center of my palm where I would roll the ball. So maybe don't torture yourself with something like that. And it looks really like I barely even touched the cosplay, even though like it feels like I used so much of it. Like that's not even half. And I've made this whole creation, and I've rolled out a base, like a little bit of decoration for my base that is currently in the oven. I'll show you that when it's done. But yeah, my hands hurt. They hurt really badly, and I noticed that especially badly when I was trying to work with the clay again today. Owie. So this hasn't been coated yet, obviously, because it just came out of the oven. It's very warm. And this is the what I kind of did with the base. It's really just an impression of some like cobblestones and moss, like nothing too intense, you know. I just figured that I'd make it a little prettier so that once I set a character on it, it kind of looked like an environment. I thought that would be neat. So yeah, just a little thing. I think it looks cute. So this was the stage that we wound up at. The clown stage. I was just playing around with the airbrush and seeing what I could do with it. The blue was a little drippy because there was water in it from when I changed the color, but I wanted to go through 2 contrasting colors to make sure that I was cleaning the tank correctly. So that is where the clown came from. It looks like a clown to me. I know it's like an abstract piece of art, essentially, but yeah. So on to figuring out how to mix colors, I think. I mean, I already know some good amount of color theory, but I just want to make sure that I get them pretty well mapped to Dracy's reference. So that's probably going to be a little bit of a pain. Probably going to be a lot of testing involved on my sketchbook here, but otherwise, clown. Mind the base coat in progress, but we have our first casualty of the day. It looks like either maybe the adhesive I didn't put on enough, or maybe the weight caught the wing when it was baking. I saw it was cracked, and then when I was kind of going around it trying to see if maybe I could fix it before it fully broke off, it broke off. So that's fun, but I have some super glue with me. It shouldn't be too hard to put back on. Okay, so funny story. I was using this, the super glue, to glue Dracy's wing back on, which looks like it's doing pretty well, but as I was trying to open it, I don't know if this had been used or something like that, or if it just had a little, like, amount of, like, blockage just, like, near the center that the pin wouldn't touch, right? So, but I noticed that it was making some progress if I squeezed the tube. But the thing is, like, whatever was in there was just barely, like, below the top. But something, like I put enough pressure behind it or something that it came out all at once. So it shot, like, 2 feet of it across my room, and I have no clue where it landed. I can't see it anywhere, so it's just hiding somewhere in wait. in my room, probably behind my computer, so probably not too much to worry about, but still. You're crazy glue. And she and I have been through a lot today, so I think that that's the cue to take a break. The base coat is drying, and I definitely made too dark of an orange still. I added so much white. She looks like a Cheeto. Alright, I aided the Cheeto situation by adding a little bit of pink, and I think that that looks good. It's kind of reminiscent of her actual ref too, and I've started working on the red parts, some of the gradients and stuff like that. I think it's looking okay so far. My last venture is going to have to be the face. Then maybe I might add some, like, a little bit more, like, shading or different looks, but we're rolling into a pretty decent endpoint, almost. Oh, I just realized that I painted this side entirely and not this side. Whoops! Oh, I'll fix that. Alright, I feel like anything else that I've been trying to add has really just kind of been something that I've had to then later fix. So, we're gonna go with this. Not to say that it's bad. This is the final result of our process this entire time. A little Tracy. I think that she looks pretty damn near perfect. Is the sculpting all perfect? Not really. You know, is the paint job perfect? You know? There's a few spots, especially in real life, like the light catching it right now makes it look a little bit more bright than it is. There were some areas that I did kind of try to, like, I guess kind of put a little bit of a wash onto, and they just didn't, they turned out a little muddy. But overall, I'm really pleased with this, especially for a first-ish attempt at something, I guess, this kind of cohesive of a design, and working with the materials that I have been. This was probably, like 4 days worth of work. So, but then it took me like 2 weeks because midway through this process, I wound up having to go to work, and I can't work on it that time just because I like to have those long stints where I can, you know, work on my projects uninhibited and not really worry about it. But yeah, I like it. I like her expression. I like a lot of the details, you know? Some of the, like, things like the back of the paw didn't really turn out that great, but you can't really see it, so it's fine. You know? It's really interesting working in 3D because you really have to think about the whole thing, the whole experience, and like every angle. And yeah, I think even the base turned out pretty nicely. Just a simple kind of cobblestone little like mossy area. She looks happy. And I like her. I do. This was a lot of fun. And I'm definitely probably going to try and play with these materials again. Going through this made me think, oh, I should really sculpt more. And yeah, you know, like it's definitely something I could see myself doing more of. It's a little bit like daunting to think about doing again now just because it was such a long process, but I enjoyed it. I did. So yeah, this is my finished result. Let me know what you think about it. And at that, I think that I'm going to end this here and hopefully find some way to compile all these videos together. So I'll see y'all next time.